Welcome, foolish mortals, to the Haunted Mansion.
On this week's episode, we talk about our top 5 favorite roller coasters. You're listening to episode 107 of the Theme Park Duo podcast.
Prepare yourselves for an unforgettable encounter.
Hi, and welcome to the Theme Park Duo podcast. Grab your park map, churro, and hop in line with us as we take you on a coast-to-coast adventure through the world of theme parks, haunts, conventions, and more. Now, here's your hosts, Nikki and Gabriel.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Theme Park Duo podcast. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Gabe.
And we are
the Theme Park Duo. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into another week's episode. We thank you for being patient with our small little week hiatus to allow Nikki's voice to come back thoroughly.
No one would have wanted to listen to an episode that I recorded last weekend.
Yeah, essentially, like, what I would say her voice was like is, like, if you watch SpongeBob and there's that weird, like, old worm woman that basically talks like this. That's pretty much like Nikki turned into, like, this 30 years smoking voice.
Either that or, like a 12-year-old boy hitting puberty.
Yeah, that too. It was like a mixture of both worlds. It was
like,
weird.
my voice kept cracking. It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
But
what about these theme park things?
It was not.
I don't know why you get an accent with that too, but you do.
I did not develop an accent.
Why are the long lines at Disneyland right now?
Well, anyway, yeah, my voice was not fit for radio or podcast or whatever. It hardly is anyway, but it really was not.
Your voice is wonderful.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
No,
I
don't think so. You know how a lot of people hate their voice? I really hate my voice when I listen to it.
I don't mind my voice at all.
Yeah. No, well, your voice is wonderful.
Is it though?
Yeah.
I think everyone's their own biggest critic when it comes to their own voice.
Well, yeah, that's exactly. Yes, I am my biggest critic. That's why I hate my voice listening to it. Yeah. But anyway, it's back to normal now. I think so. Okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So we're back, and we have a fun episode lined up for you guys, and it is our top 5 favorite roller coasters. So we don't really often talk about roller coasters on this show. It isn't something that, we're not coaster heads, we're definitely not in that realm of people.
So forgive us because we don't know the correct terminology for anything. We're not gonna.
I know more than you do.
Well, yeah, you know more than I do, but neither of us are experts.
Yeah,
so
by far.
Yeah,
not experts in any. Well, we're not experts in themed entertainment at all.
Yeah.
But as an expert, not an expert in roller coasters.
Yes.
That is confusing. But we're really, really, really excited about this one because we have hidden our lists away from each other. We don't know what's on each other's lists. Although I have a sneaking suspicion that I know at least one or two of yours.
Oh, yeah, probably.
So, yeah. But this was all really spurred on because I don't know if we've actually talked about it on the show or not, but we actually received a 5-star written review on iTunes.
We love those.
Yeah, which we love those, and it's a free way to support the show. That basically said, my feedback from Mr. Theme Parks. I love listening to you guys talk about theme parks. You are the first podcast I've ever heard of that talks about them, which we are by far not the only one. And one thing, though, can you do episodes about roller coasters, please? I would love to listen to them. So, because of that review, we are actually doing that episode. Because you asked.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. If you're listening to this show and you're like, hey, I want to hear Nikki and Gabe talk about A, B, and C, let us know.
Yeah.
And we're happy to oblige.
Within reason.
Well, yeah, of course, within reason. Your favorite places to make out in Disneyland.
We will not be disclosing those locations.
Well, we would actually have to test it out first, just saying. Within reason, of course, but, like, if you want to hear something on an episode, let us know. We're happy to oblige and do that episode. Like, it'll be fun. And I like to hear from you guys. So we're definitely doing a roller coaster episode because someone asked in a review. There you go. Boom. Done. Easy.
Yeah. And
then also we had another review, which this one actually really was pretty touching to me. Like, it got me in the heart a little bit here. It's titled True Fans by E_ticket. So E-ticket. Gabe and Nikki are among the most authentic voices out there in the themed entertainment blogger space. Their love of this stuff and each other comes across clearly and joyfully and I always look forward to new episodes.
Aw.
See, it's so sweet. It's so sweet. Well, thank you very much for those very, very kind words. We care a lot about the show. We care a lot about each other, obviously. Married, a kid, dog, sleep on the floor. Not that the dog sleeping on the floor has anything to do with
Bowser
the
has
love for
nothing
each other.
to do with our love for each other.
No, it doesn't.
No.
No. Well, because of our love, now we have a dog.
That we adopted.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It just.
But if our love never existed, then we would have never got a dog.
I might have gotten my own dog.
That's true, I guess.
I probably would have gotten my own. I probably would have had like a farm of dogs if. Well,
You're like the opposite of a cat lady. You're a dog lady.
I have to fill the void somehow.
Guess
if
so.
if I never met you.
This took a turn.
I know. This episode is the roller coaster.
Yes, it is. It's very much a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
But we care so much about the show. We care a lot about each other, and we're glad that a lot of that comes through the show because we try our best, you know, just creating some fun content for everybody to listen to. So, but with that being said, like we always say, if you love the show, if you like listening to this nonsense that we do, make sure you head on over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review. It is a free way of supporting the show. It helps us raise us up higher in the standings. It makes it easier for everyone to find us and enjoy us like you are right now. Now, I know that there's been a lot of news lately in the themed entertainment world with regards to COVID and mask regulations and social distancing, Velocicoaster, a whole bunch of stuff. We will be covering that in our next episode because this usually takes a good amount of time to kind of do. So,
you all know the news already.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's more just us kind of
so I'm saying you're just gonna wait a couple weeks to hear our opinion on it.
Pretty much. So, without further ado, let's jump into our lists of our personal top 5 roller coasters. Now, I do want to preface this with we haven't ridden Velocicoaster or Hagrid's, so I'm assuming
we can't include them.
I'm assuming that once we do, they will probably be included in this list.
Yeah.
But as of now, they are not going to be on the list because we haven't rode them yet.
Yeah,
so
that wouldn't be fair.
I can't predict that I'm going to love it so much, even though I probably will.
Yeah.
But I can't include it in my list. It just wouldn't be fair.
Exactly.
So, Nikki, what is... And these are in no particular order, by the way. What is the first one on your list?
Okay, it's really stressing me out that they're not in order, because...
Well, then order them. It's fine. You could order them if you want.
No.
You'll live in stress?
I'm going to live in stress, because you're not ordering yours, so then it wouldn't make sense.
Fine, then go.
Okay. I just wanted to
air
my displeasure.
Okay, fine. Cool.
Yeah.
Displeasure received. Now go.
I love Ghost Rider and Knott's Berry Farm.
That's a great choice.
Yeah.
Especially after it was refurbished.
Yeah, no, I have to asterisk after refurbished, because before it was refurbished, I rode it and I swore that I would never ride it again because I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
Like, literally my head felt like it was going to explode. Like I don't know. I don't know why it made my head, specifically my head, feel that way. My head wasn't hitting anything.
Yeah.
I just thought I was going to die. So I was like, that's it. Last ride forever. Never going to ride it again. And then they refurbished it and it was the best thing ever.
Yeah, well, Ghost Rider's also on my list.
Yeah.
It is a very, very intense wooden roller coaster at Knott's Berry Farm. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody listening, but I believe it's the longest wooden roller coaster in California, if not the West Coast.
At least it was at one time.
At one point it was.
Because I know it had that
moniker to
it.
So it's just a really, really intense wooden roller coaster that I feel really never lets up to a certain extent. At least now after the refurb, because before there was a brake run about halfway through that really slowed it down before you kind of go into some bunny hills. But now they got rid of that brake run after that refurb, and now that it's a little bit smoother for a wooden roller coaster, it just doesn't stop. And there's so much ejector airtime on this ride. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
There's so many times where you're just flying out of your seat coming around a turn. The only part of the ride that I'm like, oh, please just change it, is literally the last turns going into the station, because they're not banked.
Yeah.
They're just hard turns. So you're like, it's like a wild mouse just flailing back and forth, hoping you don't fall out of the gosh darn thing. And also, as we've mentioned on previous episodes, I love Ghost Rider because it gives me a good look into the backstage area when starts to kind of get set up, and you get to see facades and props being laid out. And especially because I went to Knott's Berry Farm recently for their pass holder days, I went on it and I saw lots of props being set up, lots of things getting prepared. So very, very, very exciting. But yeah, Ghost Rider, definitely up there. It's just such a fun roller coaster.
Yep.
So my next one, since you took one off my list.
I mean, we're gonna be stealing ones off each other's
That's
list.
true.
Yeah.
I'll just use I'll just go to the next one. So that's fine. So the one I'm gonna go to the East Coast for mine.
Okay.
I'm gonna say the Incredible Hulk roller coaster at Islands of Adventure.
There you go.
So for me, this one is one of the coasters that I remember growing up watching, like commercials and seeing that launch happen. It was so nerve-wracking to me, the idea of an uphill launch into a barrel roll, that I couldn't imagine myself going on it, because at the time I was a big fat baby and I wouldn't ride anything. But when we went to go visit for Halloween Horror Nights 27, that was probably one of the rides outside of Spider-Man that I was most excited to ride.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I've never really experienced. I don't think I've ever been on any ride that's an uphill launch.
Yeah.
Let alone the crazy inversion that happens after it. I think it's actually really fun that it's a Marvel themed ride, and also as a horror fan, knowing that it's Terror Incognito from House on Haunted Hill, the remake, with where they take the elevator all the way to the top of the lift at the very tippy top of the launch, and that's where you get on the ride supposedly. But overall, I think just as a roller coaster, it has a lot of really fun elements to it. And after its refurb, it's funny, 2 roller coasters with refurbs. With the refurbs now, the coasters, the coaster trains having less of a cartoony look and more of like Lamborghini almost.
Yeah.
It has this nice, sleek feel to it, upgraded feel that I really, really like. And also the audio design in that launch tunnel leading up to that really suspenseful lift to the launch it just works so perfectly. And the onboard audio too. Unfortunately, when we read it, the onboard audio kept cutting in and out.
Yeah, it wasn't working perfect.
I think with like roller coasters like that are just that intense in terms of G-forces that it's putting on its riders, I just don't think electronics can withstand that amount of force.
Yeah, so
ride after ride after ride
so
after
many
ride.
times a day. I really liked Hulk. It's in my honorable mentions, and it's only in there because, like, even though I loved a lot of the components of it, I was like done after 2 rides. I know you wanted to go
like,
again.
More.
I
more.
don't know. I might have been done after 1. Did I? No, I think I rode it twice.
You were done after 1 for Rip Ride Rocket.
Oh,
but
don't even get me started on Rip Ride Rocket.
I love that coaster. That was fun.
That ride can Rip Ride rocket into the ground and never come back up again. It was stressful because you have like a time limit on picking your music that you want to listen to for your whole ride experience.
It is pretty short.
I didn't know. I was like flipping through, and Gabe's like next to me, like, pick. It's gonna pick for you, and it picked for me. Oh, man.
You can tell Nikki's really upset. She just dropped an F-bomb.
I'm that mad. Okay.
You're that mad.
Yeah, because I was not prepared for that much stress at the beginning of a ride, and then it was just bumpy as hell.
It definitely isn't smooth.
So it was stressful and bumpy.
See, I knew what song I was going to pick ahead of time, and I knew that I would like the song, so that really helped my experience.
I didn't know what songs. If I could have done research, I could have known what songs were available and then picked. I didn't know. I thought maybe it was going to be a list of like 5.
So you're
it was like a
the
whole
reason
catalog.
why you don't like it is your own fault.
No.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense now. Nikki's really upset.
I already dropped 1 F-bomb.
Do I need to drop another?
Okay, no, this is not our list of most hated roller coasters.
Correct.
So let's just forget about Rip Ride Rocket. I like the Hulk. Let's move on.
I do want to say though that trip was such a whirlwind that I don't blame you for wanting to do like 1 and done, 2 and done on intense roller coasters like that. You know, we were wiped out. Like we were so just like done. You know,
we were
red-eye
sleep-deprived.
flight, sleep deprived, up till 3 a.m. for Halloween Horror Nights, and up and at it again at 6 a.m. for the parks and roller coasters. And after being such, like, as you said, sleep deprived for so long, going on something that's just putting that amount of pressure on your body isn't necessarily probably going to make you feel great.
Yeah.
So I don't blame you. I think if we both had like 5 days there and spent our time there, you probably would have went it a bunch of times.
Probably.
If you were like in 100% peak top form,
Yeah.
theme park form.
Which I don't foresee a trip to Universal Orlando where I'm in peak form anytime soon.
Unless we like really spend time there. But most of the time it's a Hollywood Hornets trip that's like over the weekend.
That we just happen to go on roller coasters.
Yeah.
Also.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. And that's what this next trip's going to be too.
Yeah.
So I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Okay.
So what's your next one?
My next one is nothing super intense or anything, but it's one that I appreciate because it's fun and I liked it in both its forms, and that is Incredicoaster at California Adventure.
Yeah, that actually was on my my honorable mentions.
Yeah, and I thought about putting it on my honorable mentions list, but I'm like, no, it's too fun for that because I like the launch. I miss Neil Patrick Harris's voice. But I like the launch, and now I think with the added Incredibles spin on it, I just think it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, those bunny hills,
They're fun.
that tummy feel, it's one of my favorite things. Like not even necessarily like in
Airtime Bunny Hills.
yeah, not even necessarily like in the Incredicoaster specifically, but just in general. Like I love that tummy feel.
As a coaster element, you like the tummy feel.
Yeah, so I just think it's a fun, happy, always gonna enjoy going on it. Could go on it several times. Like solid little coaster. I love it.
No, I definitely hands down agree with you. And the reason why I didn't make my top 5 was because a lot of the roller coasters that I'm choosing for my top 5 have certain emotional connotations for me.
Yeah.
With life experiences or memories and things like that. And that's not saying that I don't have memories with California Screamin' or Rockin' California Screamin' or Incredicoaster. Just it doesn't rank up there in terms of that sort of nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
But as a whole, I do think that California Screamin' / Incredicoaster is the perfect primer coaster for kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Or kids that are, they're ready to step out of Space Mountain, step out of Thunder Mountain, step out of Matterhorn, and are looking for that next thrill that isn't necessarily, Accelerator at Knott's Berry Farm or X at Six Flags Magic Mountain. I think that this is like the perfect next generation step for kids because it has a lot of different elements in it that a lot of other coasters have that do it to like the furthest
more intense
extent.
Yeah.
You have a good drop. You have a good small launch. You have the bunny hills. You have a loop.
Mm-hmm.
You have little turns here and there. You get pushed into your seat a little bit at times.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of those fun little elements that get you used to it. So I like that. I like that there's a coaster that kind of gets people ready for the next step in their coaster evolution of what they want to ride.
Yeah.
That being said, California Screamin' as a whole, there wasn't too much to it. I mean, like, there was the music that everybody liked and stuff like that. It was supposed to be this coaster that was on a boardwalk and stuff like that. I do think that the Incredibles theme brings a lot more to the table.
Yeah.
The story is complete shite.
The story is terrible.
It's terrible.
I mean,
why would you try to shove a story into it? There doesn't need to be a story.
They shouldn't have tried it all. Like it's nearly impossible to stick a good story on a roller coaster. Period.
Which I mean, like, it's definitely possible.
It can be done,
but in terms of like a straight front to back roller coaster, that's difficult because there are coasters that are capable of doing it, but they're not front to back regular roller coasters.
Yeah.
So, but on the whole, I do appreciate the Incredibles update.
Yeah.
Because it brings a lot of really fun elements to the attraction for nighttime. You know, the characters that are inside of these tunnels and kind of interacting with each other is really cool. But at night, when it's lit up,
they're like neon.
They're neon. You have that first after the lunch. You have that lunch after the lunch. After that lunch, you have that first tunnel with Jack shooting his laser beams at Dash, and then on the big main lift, you have Elastigirl trying to catch Blob Jack, and then Mr. Incredible holding out the cookie saying "Cookie, cookie, dum dum," trying to get into it. Which you could hear him at the bottom of the drop.
Or
if
even
you're at those restrooms.
yeah, or even just the fact that just the little inclusion of, I don't know if Dash is supposed to be running next to you or pushing you during the launch, but just, even the water spouts, like
Yeah, the
like
red
him
light.
running.
Yeah.
Yeah, even that. It's like, it's so cool. And I don't think this would have made my top 5 if it wasn't before the Incredibles like add-on.
If it were just California Screaming.
Yeah, then it probably would have been like an honorable mention.
See, it probably would have still been in my honorable mentions, just
Yeah.
simply based on the fact that Rockin' California Screaming existed
Yeah.
at some point, which, if anybody's listening, they're like, what's Rockin' California Screaming? It basically was like a summer where Disney put Red Hot Chili Peppers music on Space Mountain and California Screaming.
You would like anything with Red Hot Chili
Well,
Peppers.
pretty much. I mean, like, I have their tattoo on my arm, of the asterisk, so I mean, it's my favorite band of all time. So yeah, if they put Indiana Jones with Red Hot Chili Peppers, I'd dig it. So,
No one else would, but you'd be there going, whoa!
Pretty much. But yeah, they basically put the song Around the World on California Screaming, which I find it interesting that they chose Around the World for California Screaming, but then it chose Higher Ground for Space Mountain, which I feel like those should have been
switched.
swapped.
Yeah.
Just by name alone.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I digress. But that is another reason why I like California Screaming a lot, because of that reason. But yeah, it was an honorable mention for me.
Nice.
Next up on my list is Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Also on my list.
We have
Probably, let's be honest. How high is it to how close is it to your number 1?
This is pretty damn high. If I would probably be on my list of here, it's probably either number 1 or number 2.
It's 100% my number 1.
It is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Balls to the wall.
Yeah.
And it's the only RMC coaster that I've been on, but people are going to hate me. A lot of the RMC coasters that I see, although range in intensity, they all kind of look the same.
Yeah.
And kind of do the same stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I don't want anybody to get super mad at me because I've only been on this one RMC, but RMC coasters based on this one alone are pretty fun.
Yeah.
They're really fun.
Yeah.
And I think it's because when you're looking at it, you're like, oh, cool. Yeah, I see all those. Oh, cool. There's a high five. Okay, we go upside down here. Cool, cool, cool. You don't realize how much of that ride you don't spend in your seat.
Yeah, you're flying.
You're literally out of your seat the entire time.
Yeah.
And it's so misleading. And I feel like as soon as you leave the station, you do that little boop, 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 like little itty bitty like bunny hill things leading up to the lift.
Yeah.
Even in that moment, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I see what I meant for. I see.
Exactly. And I rode this during Fright Fest for the first time.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to expect.
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay, cool. I love Colossus. I'm excited to ride Twisted Colossus. I'm ready for this. It's great.
Uh-huh.
I get down and put on the restraint. And like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, huh.
What do you hold on to?
What do I hold on to?
I think the funniest thing, my funniest memory of that first ride is you the entire ride trying to find something to hold on to. You're like grabbing the outside of the cart, the front of the cart, your bar. Like, so funny.
I ended up just holding like death grip onto the fiberglass frame in front of me.
Yep. Yeah.
There is nothing to hold on to. Absolutely nothing.
On purpose. Yeah.
On purpose. And it makes it that much more terrifying when you're literally getting ejected out of your seat every 2 seconds. You want to find something to hold on to just because that's your instinctual reaction.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing. It's just absolutely nothing. And from that first drop, you're floating out of your seat. You hit the bottom of the drop. Then you hit a bunny hill, thrown out, go up, push down into your seat, then to the high five. You're flown out of your seat again, down your drop, you're getting into your seat again. It's just nonstop.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And I think my favorite portion of this ride is the Top Gun stall.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't feel like you're upside down at all, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because any other coaster that you go on, you're upside down, you feel like you're going to push in your seat, or you're falling out of your seat in terms of like, if you're going on like full throttle or something like that, you feel like you're upside down.
Yeah.
You're upside down in this, it feels like you're just going straight.
But you're also upside down for like a good
It feels like you're there
long
for a
time.
while.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the momentum that you have in the attraction in that train that keeps you in your seat, which doesn't make sense to me physics wise.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that you're still in your seat upside down for that long.
When every other time when you're upright, you're not in your seat.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's backwards.
This coaster's bonkers.
It's twisted.
Oh. Yeah, and so that first time, I think I was just completely caught off guard about how intense it was.
Yeah.
And I remember getting done with the first half of that circuit, and I was like, shit, we have to do this
Do
again.
it all over again.
And you're like, woo!
That's my favorite part. I was like, oh, yeah, we get to do it again. I think that's my favorite part, that you get to do it twice.
Yeah.
It's like you think it's over, and then you're like, oh, no, wait. There's more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, and I think to a certain extent also, being able to go on that ride and knowing what it's like and taking first-timers on it
Yeah.
is really fun.
Yeah.
Because you get to see the fear in their eyes. You get to see that, like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die in their eyes, which is pretty funny. It's good times.
Yeah, when we took my cousins from Ireland.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Basically, like, they don't have, like, there's nothing in Ireland that's like that.
Yeah.
They have Tato Park, which Tato Park has some stuff, but it's nowhere near the size of things that are in at Six Flags Magic Mountain, or like even Knott's Berry Farm for that matter. I mean, if you go to like other parts of Europe, there are parks that have roller coasters are actually pretty significant.
Yeah.
But in Ireland, no. And they basically were just like scared shitless. They didn't know what to do. They were terrified.
Yep.
They didn't. And I tried my best to like kind of navigate them to what works best and what to kind of do. And I know, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but I know that our first trip, for them at least, for roller coasters wise, was Knott's Berry Farm. And so it's like, oh yeah, I'll just put you on. I'll put you on something that's easy. Don't worry.
Easy
about it.
first.
Easy first.
Straight to
Straight
Ghost
to
Rider.
And this was before the refurb.
Oh my gosh. You
And-
bamboozled them.
I did bamboozle them because that is probably one of the most intense rides there.
But you did it. You did it because then everything after that would be a breeze.
Well, I did it out of love.
Yeah.
I did all my bamboozery and trickery and dastardly deeds were all done out of love.
That flows perfectly into the next one on my list,
Oh,
because
really?
that's exactly what happened to me in my life. My first roller coaster ever, which I've mentioned on this show before, was like set the bar for scariness so high that
Everything else doesn't follow at all.
several things after that were just like, oh well, I've done this one, so I can go on all these ones too.
Which, by the way, I always thought about that too when I was younger. I was like, I've been on this. I think I can handle that.
Yeah.
It's always like a comparison of like, okay, I almost pooped my pants there.
Yeah.
Which means I probably won't on that one.
Yeah. So when, like me, your first ride on a roller coaster ever is Goliath, everything else is pretty easy.
That thing's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. So Goliath is definitely in my top 5 because it's awesome, and also just because of nostalgia, because it was my first roller coaster ever. And that drop, man, I mean, I know you don't like drops that much, but I love drops. I love that tummy feeling, and man, is that a drop.
Well, Goliath is definitely one of those drops where you scream, then you run out of air,
and then you
take another
scream
breath,
again.
and then scream again.
Yeah, and then you try to find your lunch because you left it somewhere. But no, like, I just remember the anxiety and the stress of that whole queue, just being like, no, I can't do this. I'm just going to walk across. I can't do it. Nope. And then I get in and I'm like, no, just sit down. And I convince myself, okay, just sit down.
Just do it.
Yeah. And then I'm freaking out. And then I do the whole thing. And then after that, I'm like, let's go back on. Let's go. Come on. I'm ready. Like, I was totally converted. I was like, okay, I love coasters. Let's go.
Which, by the way, that concept of just sit down and put down the restraints is something that I tell people who are scared now is like, that's technically half the ride.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you literally have to do, and then the rest is done for you.
Just make it no turn back. No turn back.
Literally, as soon as you sit down and strap yourself in and put that restraint down, you don't have to worry anymore. You're good to go.
That's why I think it's so hard when you have to put your stuff down on the other side, because it's so easy to bail from there.
Yeah, it's super easy.
Yeah.
It's super easy because, as I've mentioned, I was a big fat baby when it came to roller coasters. I didn't want to ride anything. I was scared of literally everything. So even my first coasters, I would hop over and be like, do I go? Do I go? And you just try to muster up that courage. But that's kind of all about that process too, and part of the what's the word I'm looking for? It's part of the kind of being brought up in Southern California with these huge coasters, or even like any place that has huge coasters.
Yeah.
It's just part of growing up.
Yeah.
You know, being able to muster up that courage to do these rides that are huge.
Mhm.
So the fact that was your first one is absolutely bonkers to me.
I know. I can't believe it to this day.
I can't believe that. I mean, I know you like coasters and you love them and everything, but the idea that that's your first,
Yeah.
that's nuts.
I mean, obviously, I'm not counting like little kiddie rides or whatever.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, like, we're not talking like Gadget's Go Coaster here.
Yeah, so
we're not talking that, or like
yeah.
Fly to the Hippogriff or something.
Exactly. Yeah, so I'm talking about like coaster. That was my first coaster.
Like coaster.
Yeah. I didn't have any California Screamin', baby step up type of scenario.
You literally went from 0 to 100 like immediately.
Yeah.
You stepped off of Space Mountain and went to Goliath.
Yeah.
Like, that's essentially what you did.
Yeah.
You're nuts. You're absolutely freaking nuts.
I don't know how one would step off Space Mountain and then go on Goliath right after.
It's a good drive.
Yeah.
But you understand the concept. You understand the concept.
Yeah.
Since we're in Six Flags, and we've been in Six Flags for the last two, on our list at least, I'm going to keep it in Six Flags again, and I'm going to put us on a ride that absolutely scared the living crap out of me.
Uh-huh.
Tatsu.
Tatsu's in my honorable mention. And it's on your list.
Tatsu.
So I was struggling really hard with this because I absolutely love Tatsu. And maybe I should have moved it to my list, but I haven't ridden it in so long, I can't speak to how I would feel on it now.
I mean, I would still love it, and that fear of falling out would still be there. I mean,
Well,
like, it's a flying coaster, so you're sitting there, the seats lean forward, and your weight is hanging there.
Yeah.
So that idea that, okay, well, the only thing really keeping me inside of this coaster right now is the restraints.
Yeah.
Freaks me out. I mean, like, that's the same in any case, but I mean, the idea
Even
that
more
your
so
weight
a
is
little bit
pressing
in Tatsu.
on it.
Yeah. No, so this is so hard because Tatsu should be on my list, but because I haven't ridden it in so many years.
Yeah.
Like, I loved X2, but I hadn't ridden it in so long, and I went on maybe
we went
like
on at Fright Fest.
Fright Fest, yeah. And I
It
was
was
like,
that same trip we went on Twisted Colossus.
yeah,
Same
but
exact
I think
trip.
Tatsu was down, so we didn't go on Tatsu.
No, we didn't.
But I rode X2 and I loved it, years ago, and I rode it and I was like, that was terrible. That was complete
It's gotten rough.
baloney. So I don't know. I couldn't say Tatsu now because I don't have any recent experience with it. But years ago, Tatsu 100% like number 2 on my list.
Yeah.
So
I just feel like in general the G-forces that you feel on that ride are so different than any other coaster where you're just sitting down, or even standing up for that matter, or even inverted coasters where you're dangling. A flying coaster puts you in this really interesting situation where you could easily be flying straight forward at one moment, then flip over, be on your back, then go through a loop, and then be back in your normal position. And the feeling of those G-forces
it's crazy.
Floating over your body when you're going through those loops and corkscrews and things like that are just funky.
Yeah.
Like, it feels weird.
My favorite ever is front row when the timing is just right and there's one particular drop where it pivots you, and so you're looking straight down. Yeah. So it's like you literally feel like you're free falling straight to the earth. And it's the most incredibly scary. Yeah, and then the coaster catches you, but it's the most incredibly scary feeling in the world, and it's so exhilarating, and it's the closest thing I'll ever probably get to bungee jumping or skydiving. And so it's amazing. So that's one of my favorite moments on a coaster ever. Front seat on Tatsu in that like basic free fall.
For me, like, most of the time I like the back, just simply based on the fact that, like, you're getting whipped around like crazy.
In most rides I do, but you can't beat that for me.
I was gonna say for you.
For me.
For you.
Yeah.
And I think what makes Tatsu really interesting is the interesting kind of inversions that create moments that are nothing like anything I've been on.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I like it so much.
Mm-hmm.
because of that reason. But yeah, also saw Chester Bennington when I was on it a long time ago. Throwback. That was pretty fun. But I was I think it was like in high school at that time when
Yeah.
that was happening. So that was a big deal for me. But yeah, no, Tatsu has made it onto my top 5.
Okay. I think was that your last one on your top 5?
No, I have.
Oh, because I went first.
Yeah, I have one more on my
Okay.
top 5, which you took one of them.
Okay.
And
So
I took one of yours. Hey, we didn't have that much crossover.
no, we didn't. So okay, so my last one.
If it's not what I think it is, I'm going to be shocked.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm stressed.
Why are you stressed about me guessing?
Because
What
like
does it
I feel
matter?
judged.
You
No,
feel
I
judged?
feel what if I say the wrong thing? What if I say the one that you're not thinking of? What are you thinking of? No, don't tell me.
Gold Rusher at Six Flags.
How'd you guess?
How'd you
No,
guess?
no. Okay, I went back and forth because I had a few. I had a very hard time with this list in general.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh, do you want to say your runners up, or did you already go through your runners up?
No, I have a couple more.
Do your runners up first. Lead up to it. Lead up to it. I want more stress for you.
Okay, one of my runners up is one that you're probably just going to be surprised at because it's not that big of a ride, and I usually say pass when the line's too long, but I absolutely love Pony Express.
Yeah, I mean that line is always too long unless it's a walk-on.
Yeah, but I love the ride.
Just the concept of like sitting on something like that, like a
It's
like
just a
sitting
very
on a horse.
it's just a very unique ride vehicle.
I don't deny that.
And
I
it makes
think my issue with it is
the
that
ride
it's
that
too
much fun.
it's too short.
It's too short for the
not
weight.
There's not enough going on with it that makes it interesting enough for me to want to ride it after a long wait.
Yeah.
You know, because that line, if it's like down the ramp, that's too long for me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna wait in that.
No, and I agree. And I don't wait in that long of a lane
Yeah.
either. But if it's a short wait or if we have express pass or whatever for that day, of course I'm going to ride it because I really, really enjoy it every
Yeah.
time I ride it.
I mean, it's a nice addition to Knott's Berry Farm because I think it is like California Screaming. I think it's a nice kind of intermediary roller coaster.
Yeah.
It has a launch and it has a big hill and it has some fun little moments to it for, kids who don't want to go on the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just too short. I understand why, but that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's one of my runners up.
Okay.
Do you have another one?
I'll let you finish your runners up.
Okay. My other runner up is it might be the one that you're thinking of for my actual.
We'll find out. We'll find out. If it's what I think it is, I'll be shocked that it's on a runner up.
Well, I can't put a roller coaster. I did air quotes. As one of my main just because of the theme. Because
it could totally be because of the theme.
no,
There's literally no rules.
I make
You-
my rules. I'm making
you
rules.
do what you want.
So this is one of my runners up because it's not like a full coaster. It's got other aspects to it.
Okay.
So Escape from Gringotts.
That makes sense.
Is on my runner.
To me, I consider that a coaster.
Yeah.
It's a small bit of coaster,
Yeah.
but it's a coaster
Got
nonetheless.
coastery bits. So yeah.
It's got coastery bits.
Yeah, but so I love the theme. I love the ride. I love
Yeah.
like the mix of coaster and screen, and so I put it on my runner up.
It's like dark ride, coaster kind
Yeah.
of mix up,
Yeah.
which is fun. I like it a lot. It actually didn't make my runner-up list at all.
Yeah.
Because I think it's trash. No, I'm just joking. I don't think it's trash. I think it's really fun. It just isn't my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
And like comparatively, when you have like Forbidden Journey in another Harry Potter themed land,
Yeah.
it's really hard to beat that, in my opinion.
You see, I think it comes close. And I know we've had this discussion before. And I know that like Forbidden Journey's older. I've written it more times. I think if you're matching my first reaction, like my first ride on Forbidden Journey to my first ride on Gringotts, Forbidden Journey wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now if I was faced with the two, I'd probably choose Gringotts
Why?
because I like it more now. Why do I need to go in more detail?
I'm just curious. I want to know what those details are.
Because I just think it's a more, I don't don't know.
Screen's better
I'm
for
on
Nikki.
the spot.
Nikki likes screens
There are
better.
plenty of screens in Forbidden Journey.
Yeah, but
what
a majority,
are you saying?
But a majority of it is practical.
Practical. Yeah. Okay.
Majority of it is.
I don't know. Maybe I'm sick of seeing Hermione in the
middle
tree.
Of the Forbidden Forest.
Yeah.
What are you doing there, Hermione?
Hermione,
You shouldn't be there.
get out of there. You can't apparate in and out of Hogwarts. Cut that out.
Bitch.
Yeah. So, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an articulated reason for you, but right now I would choose Green Gods over Forbidden Journey.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. Stop putting me on the spot.
That isn't what I thought was going to be a number one.
Oh.
At all.
Oh. I'm so perplexed.
Do you
No,
have
but it's not my number one. I told you my number one was
well,
Twisted
at least
Colossus.
on your list of top 5.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make it.
Okay.
But do you have another runner-up?
I have so many. I don't have any more that
Well, just list off the ones that didn't make the list.
I really like Manta at SeaWorld.
Oh, that is a good one. I didn't
Yeah.
even think about Manta.
I thought about that one like right before we started
Manta's
recording.
really good.
I really like
Which,
Manta.
by the way, we're talking about Manta at SeaWorld San Diego.
San Diego. We
not
haven't
the one
ridden
in Orlando.
we have never
Or
even
is it
been
Florida?
to SeaWorld in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Manta in California.
Yes.
Really like that. I mean, there's just so many other ones that just didn't quite make it. I do like Full Throttle.
Yeah.
Yes.
World's largest loop.
Yeah, so that's
Six Flags
super
Magic
fun.
Mountain.
There's a lot that just didn't quite make the
Mhm.
cut, and then there's other ones that are just like I like riding them, but they're not the best, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, like, you went on Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point.
But I said that I didn't
You were
feel.
you didn't feel confident because you did it when you were so young.
I was a teenager. I was younger, and I that was back before I was really super into theme parks or rides in general. So I don't have much of a recollection of it to justify putting it on my list.
I mean, there's not much to remember.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can barely remember going on it. So
the emotions of going on it are what's most important.
I don't even remember
you
the
don't
emotions.
remember that.
I don't remember any. I remember having fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I remember the silly cow show at the Hershey Museum more than I remember. And I didn't go into Hershey Park. It was the cow
The
little
outside thing.
Yeah, it was the outside. It was at the actual like Hershey factory.
Yeah.
But so I remember that more than I remember anything at Cedar Point. So I didn't feel like justified putting any of that stuff on my list.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so I guess that's it. I mean, I like so many.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time. Everyone gets a participation trophy. But so for my last one on my top 5, I chose Accelerator.
Okay, good. That's the one. That's the one. I was like, if Accelerator doesn't make it on this list, I don't know who I married. I was going to be shocked if that didn't make it on your list because you love that ride.
I love
so
Accelerator.
much.
I
hate that ride so much.
I love it because I love launches and I love how high it goes. I love the big drop after the launch. I love everything about it. But most of all, I love sitting next to you while you are scared out of your mind.
Which I go on it. I want to preface you making fun of me too. I go on it with you.
For me.
I ride it.
For me.
I enjoy it after I get off of it.
Yeah.
But literally every emotion up until the brakes is pure terror.
Yeah, no, literally he'll talk to me in the queue, but then as we get closer,
I get quiet.
you get quiet, and then we get in the seats, and then literally you can't talk to him. And there's no other ride. There's no other ride where Gabe gets like that. Like literally he's like staring straight ahead. I try to say something. He's like, don't talk to me.
And I'm like, am I strapped in? Can you double check?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
excuse me,
triple check.
Can you check my restraints, please?
And then he's just like watching like the countdown, like the lights.
If nobody's been to Knott's Berry Farm before who's listening or doesn't know what Accelerator is, it is a launching steel coaster that goes from 0 to 80 and I think about like 4-5 seconds.
Yeah,
like, really quick. And it goes straight up over a hump and then all the way back down, straight down, and does a couple big turns, and that's pretty much it. It's over really quick.
Yeah.
But there's this level of anxiety that just kind of falls over me because when you're waiting in that line, you hear it over and over and over. that launch and people screaming just over and over and over and over. And the fact that it's just a lap bar. And then when you're sitting there, the cars look like these, like old school, hot rods.
Yeah.
And you sit down and there's these street lights that are there and you're just waiting for it to hit green. And when it hits green, it feels like Back to the Future or some shit. Because it's like your face goes back. Like you have like a double chin and you're like, oh, and you're just trying to like survive the ride essentially. And when you hit the top of that big hump,
you're up there for a minute.
You're up there for a minute and you're getting thrown out of your seat the entire time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that scares me the most. It is the idea of not touching my seat.
Yeah.
Like you're getting so hard thrown out of your seat. It isn't just gently floating. It's just as hard as you can, thrown out of your seat. And I feel if I don't hang on, I am going to die. Which, by the way, I went on a date with a girl before you to Knott's Berry Farm, and I forced myself on that with her because I didn't want to be a punk. So of course I'm gonna force myself on it with you.
Yeah.
Even though I don't have anything to be judged by at this point. But I still do it because I love you.
You know how much I like it.
And I know how much you like it.
Yeah.
With that being said, I mean, like, there are times where I'm like, babe, I just can't, not today.
Yeah, no, and I totally respect that. I totally respect that. I don't force you on it. Half the time it's down anyway. Half the time it's not working. So you get lucky. So
when I went to Knott's on the pass holder day, I looked at it, I was like, yeah, no. And then I just turned around and walked away. But I did have fun watching it. I mean, like, I have a blast watching it and getting photos of it and seeing people have fun on it. I mean, that's half the fun of that ride, just because it's such a spectacle on Boardwalk. How loud it is. And when you're even, like, driving on the freeway or driving around Knott's, you see it. You can't miss it. It's, like, part of the skyline.
Yeah.
So it is definitely a big part of that. And, for what it's worth, the ride is fun. Like, once you get off of it.
Yeah.
It's fun getting off. But the lead up is just pure anxiety for me. It's just pure unadulterated anxiety. But that is the one I was fully expecting to be on your list. So I'm glad it definitely made it. So runners up for me. Mm-hmm. My first runner up is definitely going to be Montezuma's Revenge at Knott's Berry Farm.
Love it.
It is a very old Schwarzkopf launching coaster. It's been around for a long time. It's one of the first flywheel launch coasters in the world and the oldest shuttle loop roller coaster, still in its original location. And it's the last of its kind operating in the United States.
That's crazy.
It's absolutely bonkers.
And it's a bunch of fun. Like that, honestly, this is what I'm saying. Like, I had such a hard time picking a top 5
There's
plus.
A lot of fun roller coasters.
Because this totally would have been a runner-up too, but I just, like, I literally had like anxiety over picking anything, so I blanked on everything.
Yeah.
So like this, I'm not gonna say which other one I blanked on, which didn't make my list, which probably should have, because you still have one you're gonna say. So I'm not gonna say it.
You just tell me if it is what it is.
I will. Yeah, I will.
But yeah, Montezuma's Revenge, which was my first roller coaster of all time. And I'm pretty sure I've told the story on the show before, but I was with my brother, and my brother was very much the major component of get on this ride, you big fat baby, in my life. And we were at Knott's Berry Farm. He was with his girlfriend, and she had brought her cousin, and we were all going on rides, and I didn't want to look like a big baby, so I was trying to force myself on everything.
Yeah.
And this was the first ride of the day. And, we were leading up to it, and I was just trying to act cool about it and stuff. And my brother basically, like, right when we got up to where they put you in each kind of line for the seats, he wiggled in front of me. So when the gate opened, he sat down. He's like, "Now you can't get past me. Now you have to go on because you can't go backwards." I was like, oh, crap. So I forced myself to go on it. And ever since then, I've kind of enjoyed coasters. That in and out of itself, I feel like Montezuma's Revenge is a good first launching coaster for people.
Yeah.
It isn't very intense. It takes a while to get up to speed. It's not super fast. I think it goes like 60, 65. But you get a loop, you go backwards through the loop, big hill, and then you're done.
Yeah.
I went on it when I was at the pass holder days at Knott's, and it's still just as rough as I remember.
Yes,
That
it is.
that brake run, you come back in, it's like whack.
Yeah.
You whiplash your neck into place. But yeah, Montezuma's Revenge is a very, very fun coaster. Also, aptly named for being right next to the bathrooms.
Yes.
So, yeah, so Montezuma's Revenge is definitely in my honorable mentions. I mean, like, it's really hard not to mention, like, a Space Mountain or a Matterhorn in honorable mentions. Matterhorn being the very first tubular steel roller coaster in the world, which I think is pretty incredible. And especially after its refurb, I actually think it's significantly better than it used to be. I do think that the trains are a little bit less comfortable. Not that it was comfortable in the first place at all. But I think it's a little less comfortable. But with the refurb, I actually think it's scarier. I think it's significantly scarier.
I love all the additions they put in.
Yeah, so going up that lift, it's dark, and then you see the Yeti kind of running uphill next to you. Then in the darkness, you hear running next to you, and you don't see the red eyes anymore. But then the updated Yeti itself is actually pretty dang scary.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that, and I feel like Space Mountain is just kind of one of those, and you know, I'll throw in the Orlando version as well at Magic Kingdom, although both of them are very different.
Yeah.
It's, to me, Space Mountain is like one of those rides that you go in as a tradition as a kid. It's like, oh, have you been on Space Mountain? You can't see anything. I heard some guy got his head chopped off on it. Oh my god. You know, it's like before the internet, those stories get passed around. Like, don't put your hands up on that ride. Don't do it. Which, don't do it on the Florida version. Ours is fine, but Florida, don't do it. And I would always make the joke that I feel like Florida's version, their music isn't on board. It just feels like somebody put a boombox at the bottom of their ride, and just someone has to keep pressing repeat on
Yeah, that could use a little bit of an update.
Honestly, I want the coaster to have onboard audio. Don't change the music.
Yeah.
I think the music itself is like dated piece of work. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose that because I like it so much. Because, like, with ours, we lost kind of that surfery vibe music when it went through its refurb, and Space Mountain finally turned back to white.
Yeah.
And we got the like techno rock and roll type music on there now that was done by Michael Giacchino, who also did the music for like Incredibles and a lot of other Pixar movies and stuff, Disney movies in general. Which the music works perfect for what it is and what you need. And the ride before didn't feel as intense, but with that new music, Space Mountain definitely feels a lot more intense than what it is. Yeah. I feel like that adds to the vibe of the attraction as a whole, too.
And then you can't forget, like, Ghost Galaxy.
Oh, Ghost Galaxy is just phenomenal. Or when especially because it has a real scare at the end of it.
Yeah, or when they did the Star Wars layover, that was super fun.
Yeah. And like I said before, Rockin' Space Mountain, you know, you have Red Hot Chili Peppers on it.
You can't forget that.
Red Hot Chili Peppers are headed to the space stage. This is your Uncle Joe Benson broadcasting live across the universe.
Oh my gosh.
What?
They should do a Xenon Girl of the 21st Century layover.
No, never.
And they just play zoom, zoom, zoom. Make my heart go boom, boom.
Yeah, no.
Supernova girl.
No.
Yeah.
No, just no, never, no.
And like the asteroid in the middle could be like Xenon's space day.
Well, while you're at it, just make it a freaking Hannah Montana ride, okay? No. Just do that, or make it Brink, a Brink layover of Space Mountain.
Brink, I would be down for Brink.
That's a terrible layover idea. How could you be okay with that? That is a horrendous idea that makes absolutely no sense. It's the sequel nobody wanted. Brink in space. Nobody wants that.
Team Pup and Suds.
Team Pup and Suds.
Versus Team X-Blades in space.
Everyone's just floating. No one's actually rollerblading.
It's literally...
They're just stuck in orbit.
It's literally just all the skaters, like, projected onto the walls, like...
Help.
What are we doing here, man?
Help. I'm floating. This is not sick, bro.
Okay, we've gone off the rails.
By the way, I do think that would be a really fun episode. Really bad layover ideas.
That sounds fun.
Let us know if
if you want that.
If you want that, I think that'd be a really fun idea. Really bad layover ideas. And we'll just compete to see who can think of the worst layover idea.
I will not be including Xenon because I think that's awesome.
I will purposefully listen to this episode and write down word for word what you said.
Okay.
To include it.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of people out there who like Xenon. It probably would be fun. I digress. And I'd probably go on it.
You would go on it.
I probably would go on it.
But it probably wouldn't be that good. But I would enjoy it.
Yes. Yes, you would enjoy it. It's the nostalgia factor.
Yeah, nostalgia.
So my coaster that takes the last spot on my list, and tell me if it's the one that you thought was going to be on it that you didn't put on yours.
Uh-huh.
But it's Revenge of the Mummy in Universal Studios Florida.
No, that's not what I
Oh,
thought.
really? What did you think it was going to be?
I am surprised that this ride didn't make it. More like I'm surprised it didn't make your runner-up list. I didn't think it was going to make your main list. But then when I didn't hear you say it at all, I assumed it was going to be on your list.
I honestly might have forgotten about it.
Hang Time?
Yeah, no, I mean, I enjoy Hang Time,
Yeah.
but it's definitely, it doesn't make the top.
But it doesn't even make a runner-up?
Like, well,
You
of
have
course,
so much fun on that ride.
no, it definitely makes my runner up. It's just
Yeah.
that it doesn't make my list.
But
And
you
I
didn't say
honestly
it.
didn't even think about Hang
You
Time.
forgot it.
I forgot
I
about it.
honestly, it's so new, and
Hang Time at Knott's Berry Farm,
I wrote
everybody.
it so few times before quarantine because I was pregnant and
Yeah.
whatever. But so like it just wasn't in my memory bank, really. You know?
Yeah, no,
Yeah. In my head,
yeah.
when I was going through Knott's, trying to think of rides, Boomerang was still.
That's a dated brain.
Which I'm like, I love Boomerang. Now it's gone. But
The only good thing about Boomerang was the smell of the popcorn
yeah.
that was in the loop. Other than that, it was Headache City.
It was Headache City, but it was fun.
That was sort
I
of
liked
fun.
it.
It was sort of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hang Time. That would make my runner-up. I remember going on that for the first time, and Rick West from TPA or Midsummer Scream was like, "You're gonna get muffin topped." I was like, "Really?" He was like, "Yeah, I did."
Oh, you do.
And it
hardcore.
isn't at the part you'd think. It's like this itty bitty little bump thing
Yeah.
over. And it's like, it's like your whole stomach just floats to the top, like the cream. Yeah.
Okay,
it was,
well,
it
anyway.
was Muffin Top City.
Anyway, the Mummy.
Yes,
Yeah.
Revenge of the Mummy, the ride
Yeah.
at Universal Studios Florida, and it definitely beats out ours because I feel like ours, just like our Tower of Terror, was a bastardized version of that ride. I feel like our Revenge of the Mummy ride is a bastardized version of what it should be.
That's a matter of opinion.
It's definitely a matter of opinion, and I understand that there are things about ours that are different and unique. I mean, I understand that it's a different take on the attraction, but I appreciate the one that's in Florida way more.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more to it, and I feel like that adds so much more to the attraction as a whole. And starting from the idea that you're going onto the set and the curse is real, but you're going anyway, and just the environments that you kind of go through, because the first half of it is essentially a dark ride. You know, you're going through, you see the shadow walk by, like from the film in the passageway.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he's basically, the guy's trying to warn you. He's like wrapped up in bandages. He's like, no, the curse is real. And Imhotep jumps out of his sarcophagus trying to come after you. And, you know, from the flames of the mummies coming up from the sides to, you know, what we have in ours, but, you know, the scarab beetles coming out of the wall, to hitting a turntable and turning around and seeing Imhotep's like face talk to you.
Yeah.
And then once again, we're ending where we started, but launching uphill into Imhotep's mouth, and then you have a fake ending.
Yeah.
You have a fake ending. Who does that? No other ride has done that, to my knowledge, which I'm sure there is one. And someone's going to be like, excuse me. There's definitely this attraction that does it. But for me, it's the first time I've ever been on an attraction that totally tries to fool you into thinking the attraction's over. Imhotep murders the poor team member, lights the room on fire, and then you launch again. And after that room, there's like, right where the picture is, there's like a drop that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
And I remember being on that ride and actually reaching for my restraint because I was like, like not expecting that like dip hard into a turn.
Yeah.
And I think that one caught me off guard because I'm so used to ours.
Yeah.
I'm so used to ours, and ours is just like a lot of turns and very itty bitty dips, things like that, and doing it backwards, which is fun.
I like going backwards.
Which is fun.
Yeah.
But being so used to that and seeing how drastically different this version is makes me love it that much more.
Yeah.
There's just so many fun elements to it, from the idea of like going into Imhotep's mouth to poor Brendan Fraser never getting his coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's just a lot of fun aspects to it, and I think it's a really nice addition to that area. I mean, sorry, R.I.P. Confrontation, But this is a very, very, very good replacement for it. And I'm really excited to ride it again when we go in October.
Me too.
I missed that ride a lot. I like Mummy.
Yeah.
It's a fun ride.
Honestly, it's like I rode it last time and I was like, I think I still like ours in Hollywood better. But
I don't get it.
Maybe
How do you
I just
like
need
it
to
more?
give it another try. I don't know.
What about ours to you sets it above the
I don't
Florida
know.
version?
I like going backwards.
Literally just backwards?
I don't
So literally every single other thing that happens in the ride that's awesome, you're like, doesn't go backwards.
It sounds dumb when you say it like that. I'll write it again in October and I'll give you a fresh opinion.
And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna have our recorder with us, and we're gonna get your reaction afterwards. And you know what you're gonna say?
It didn't go backwards.
Didn't go backwards.
I'll give you a fresh opinion in October because you make it sound so appealing. But I remember after I wrote it last time, I was like, I like ours better.
I don't even know how you
I
like
don't
ours
know.
better. Like, I'm shocked. Like, I'm flabbergasted. How does that even happen?
I don't know.
The good ending of ours got, once again, bastardized, and now it's like this weird, like, smoke in your face turntable
Yeah.
with, like, a moon face
Yeah.
going, no! And then
I
a big flash of
know.
light.
I know.
Where the room used to catch on fire.
Yeah.
There used to be like projections of pyramids everywhere and stuff. Like, it was amazing. Like, that was cool.
Well, I remember it that way.
But like, that was like yeah, I understand you remember it that way, but that's not the way it is anymore.
Well, that's why I didn't put Tatsu on my list. Because I
Oh.
couldn't justify it.
Well, that makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what Tatsu doesn't do? Doesn't go backwards.
backwards.
Doesn't go backwards.
Technically, Tatsu is like Willy Wonka's elevator. It goes,
It
every
goes
way.
forward. It only goes forward. It never goes backwards.
Yeah, but sometimes you're facing backwards while it goes forward.
Yeah, but it's not going backwards, is it?
But you are.
No, you're not. You're
yes,
always.
you are.
Momentum is always going forward.
Now, if you are facing backward while the ride is going forward, you are going backwards.
You are going backwards, but the ride is always going forwards.
I know that.
Do you?
Yes.
I think you just confused yourself.
No, I think I confused you, and you were so confused that you just keep saying the same thing over and over again.
Doesn't go backwards.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Well, that was actually
Good night.
That was a really fun list.
Yeah, it was. I had a
actually
lot of
like
fun.
that. Although we had I actually predicted, so I was like, we're probably gonna have crossover of like one or two.
Yeah, just a couple.
Which I called.
Yeah.
Which is totally what happened, and I'm glad that you had a pretty significant amount that were different than mine.
Yeah.
Because our like for coasters is completely different.
Yeah,
You know,
I knew in 1,000 years Accelerator would never be on your list.
Hell to the no. Hell to the no. But no, yeah, I mean, like, our love for coasters is very different because you love those huge drops and large, fast launches. And for me, I've never been a launch fan, even though my first coaster and I love it is Montezuma's Revenge, which is a launch, and I just touted up, Incredicoaster, which has a launch. I just talked about the Mummy, which has a launch.
Those are all teeny launches.
Yeah, they're not intense.
Yeah,
they're not intense at all, and they're very manageable launches, actually, in my opinion. But as a whole, I like coasters that make me feel something that I've never felt before.
Yeah.
Launches usually are like the same thing over and over again, regardless of how fast or intense they are.
Yeah.
Big drops are big drops. But adding emotion to it, whether or not that's from a themed element or from the fear that you feel of an element that you don't expect to feel a certain way, those are the things that I think are most interesting.
Yeah.
And I think looking at my top lists, I feel like, and also the Hulk, a launch going uphill.
Yeah.
Which that was not so bad because you really don't feel it at all. But, looking at my list, you could see that a lot of those roller coasters have those particular elements that are very, very different. Tatsu, flying coaster, and the way that you hit those inversions, you feel G-forces that you don't necessarily would feel in a regular coaster that you would be sitting down in, or Incredible Hulk, where you're launching uphill into a barrel roll, diving down towards the water. That's another element that you don't really feel anymore. A fake ending for a coaster for, the Mummy's, Revenge of the Mummy, the ride, things like that. So I think a lot of those are, for me, what sets things apart. That's how I kind of chose mine.
Yeah.
For me, what makes those things special for me.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. And I chose half nostalgia, half like what I just remember being most excited on, and then half just what I could remember from parks because
Yeah.
I panic blanked out.
Well, it's also been a year since we've been to a park.
Yeah, no,
I
I
mean,
was
like, you
trying
haven't
to,
been to it. I've been to Knott's
I was
recently,
trying to go
but-
through my head and think of like what rides. Like I love Silver Bullet.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many other ones. There's literally too many
Yeah.
to just, you know, think of them all.
I think the unfortunate thing is that there's so many coasters, and actually sitting down and thinking about it, I'm like, I guess I haven't been on that many.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many coasters in the Midwest that we haven't been on.
Yeah.
And so many coasters that I would go on in a heartbeat that I think look really, really fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you have like Lightning Rod. Lightning Rod looks absolutely bonkers to me.
Yeah, there's so many roller coasters out there to experience.
Yeah,
so
there's a ton.
We've only tip of the iceberg.
You know, Gatekeeper. There's Millennium Force. There's Medusa. There's so many, and I wish we had been able to experience a lot of those Midwest parks because a lot of them have really good coasters.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and you know, we choose from what we've experienced instead of just choosing what we wish we experienced.
Yeah.
So, but that brings us to the end of the episode. Hopefully everybody had a good time hearing us reminisce and talk about our favorite coasters. And if you did, make sure you head on over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star written review. Remember, as I said at the top of the episode, it is a free way to support the show, and if you're enjoying our nonsense, make sure you do that for us. It brings us up higher in the standings and makes it easier for everybody to find us and enjoy us like you are right now. If you guys want to hear anything else on the show, like I said, we'd love to hear from the audience about topics, things you want us to talk about, history of rides, top 5 lists, or anything, whatever it is, you want to hear about it, or if you have anything to tell us, you can always email us at
themeparkduo@gmail.com.
Yes, and if you haven't already, also make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. All you have to do is search at Theme Park Duo. As always, everybody, thank you for tuning in and enjoying our nonsense. And always remember,
There's always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. See ya!
Thanks for riding with the Theme Park Duo. Make sure to gather all your belongings before the end of the podcast. Bye-bye.